All right, on to number 7. And number 7 was a big one for me. If you know my story at all, I started out as an accountant, which meant that I was routinely doing very complicated things down to the penny. I remember what got me out of accounting was a sales tax audit on documentations from disk drives. I remember finding the limit of Excel, and I don't remember what it was. It's something like 64,000 rows, and that was not enjoyable, right? Doing that kind of audit down to the pennies. But when I go back and I looked at the first 5 years of being a landlord, something I got wrong is I sweated all the details, all the small things. Everything had to go through me. And again, maybe it's a cost of admission in the beginning, but I can tell you now it is far easier to work with your property manager to kind of set the expectation and then allow them to do their job. Now, you need to manage them, you need to set expectations. It is your money after all. But man, I must have been a horrible client in those first couple of years. I mean, I would call them out on any charge. And you're like, what's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? And in reality, I was so far away. I was new to the business. Again, I am sure I was a horrible client for these initial property managers, but I didn't know how to do anything different. I needed to audit everything to the penny. I needed the story behind everything, and that was not enjoyable for either of us, the property manager or myself. So what I would tell you now is you need to, after the first 90 days of working with your PM, which is your property manager, which you sort of get the feel for them, set a limit, right? And maybe it's $100, maybe it's $50, maybe it's $250. I don't know what it is for you, but let's just say in this example, it's 100. You give the authority for the property manager to do anything that they deem relevant for that costs less than $100 without a phone call to you. Man, I approved everything, right? Service calls, anything in the beginning. And that ruined my day and caused some delays, and some emergencies didn't get addressed fast enough. And again, it was because I was a control freak. I was not appreciating the bigger picture and realizing that time was such an important thing to me. Now that we've been doing this a while, our limit is a little higher than 100. But again, set your own limit. Again, work with your property manager. Get those first 90 days out of the way where you learn about each other. And assuming you like that, set some kind of limit, because I promise you, you can eliminate half your phone calls by not sweating the small stuff. And if you can remove half the phone calls, being a landlord actually is a lot of fun. It's when you have to pick up the phone and you dread, oh my God, they're calling me again. How much is it this time? In reality, most of those phone calls are pretty small. There are some big ones, I know that. But most of those are pretty small. And if you just say, hey, take care of everything below 100, half your phone calls go away. So again, something I learned by writing this book is don't sweat the small stuff. Get comfortable. Audit your property manager because they can rob you blind, but audit them. Make sure you set some expectations. And I promise you, by not sweating the small stuff, being a landlord would be a lot more fun. All right, hope that makes sense, and don't make the mistakes that I did. Take care.